Alright, I just wanted to make a video about Bernard Hopkins. Alright, yesterday he turned 49. And I have a lot of respect for this man. He's not one of my personal favorite fighters, but I respect him more than anybody else in this era, in this sport. There's no way I can ever discredit this man, even though there's times where I've rooted for him, there's times I rooted against him, there's times I was neutral, there's times I hated him for something ridiculous he did in the ring or whatever. But you know what? I have more respect for him than any other boxer in this era, in this sport. All right. Now, I want to bring up, the first time I see Bernard Hopkins was when he fought Roy Jones. I think I might have been like 10 years old around that time. I can't remember exactly what year it was, but this is the first time I see Bernard Hopkins, and I remember the night clearly because I was with my dad. I was at my aunt's and uncle's house. They had this big TV in the basement. We used to watch fights. Whenever we weren't watching fights at my dad's house, we would watch fights at my aunt's and uncle's house or whatever, because they also had a big TV in their basement. And I was down there and I was watching the fight, and I remember my dad being there as well. And we watched the fight. And by this time I was already a Roy Jones fan, because my dad was a Roy Jones fan. So I was definitely a Roy Jones fan already. And he fought Bernard Hopkins, and that fight was so tough. And I remember my dad like, yo, that kid Bernard Hopkins. I mean, if Roy won the fight, but I remember my dad was like, yo, that Roy almost lost to that Bernard Hopkins dude. I mean, I didn't watch the fight again until years later. I didn't watch the fight. Last time I seen the fight between them, maybe it was like a couple years ago since the first time I saw the fight. But I remember Bernard Hopkins had that stupid executioner mask or whatever with the X on it. The stupid costumes he used to come to the ring with. And he still do it. Now he's coming in the ring with an alien thing. That's my first time I see Bernard Hopkins fight, and I actually remember that clearly, all right? So, there's been times I rooted for him. I wanted him to win against Jermaine Taylor both times, all right? I wanted him to win those fights. I was mad when he lost some fights because I thought he won those fights. I wanted him to win against Joe Calzaghe. I wanted him to win against Antonio Tarver. It's been countless times where I wanted him to win, and then it was times where I didn't want him to win. I didn't want him to win against, let's say, Roy Jones, obviously. I didn't want him to win there. I wanted De La Hoya to beat him. I wanted Felix Trinidad to beat him. I even wanted Winky Wright to beat Bernard Hopkins, and I'm just thinking of all the fights that I've seen live or whatever. And then, there was fights like that. I was neutral. When he fought Chad Dawson, I was kind of neutral with that, and when he fought John Pascal, I was kind of neutral with that. But I'm bringing all these fights up because it's so many other fights that I didn't bring up. But this guy has fought everyone in this era. He's gone up and down, and not just this era. I'm talking about the 90s. He has fought everyone, and it's funny because he's done time in prison. I wish this was one of the guys I wish he had more time to be in the sport. And he's accomplished so much with the little bit of time that he's had. But, if he came in a lot earlier and he didn't, do his prison time, he would have definitely, accomplished even more in the sport. He's a great boxer. I mean, he's not one of my personal favorite boxers, but I respect him more than any other boxer, like I said. So, one of the things that I hated about him, I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but, I hated when he did the low blow thing with Joe Calzaghe. I wanted him to beat Joe Calzaghe. I was so mad. I'm like, yo, come on. And then when he gets thrown down by Chad Dawson, he didn't get back up. Those are the moments, those are the B-hop moments that I hated. But at the same time, and what, I want to speak on this too, because, he actually announced the other day that he's trying to fight Adonis Stevenson and Kovalev and Shumenov. And his last recent fights has been very entertaining. The Murat fight, the Pascal fights. These are really good fights. It's a less defensive Bernard Hopkins, but they're more action-packed. You know, he's been fighting these guys. He's been very aggressive the way he's been fighting these guys lately. You know, for older Hopkins, it's crazy. You know what I mean? He even got knocked down by Pascal a couple times, and he got hurt a couple times too, even in a rematch. But yo, the fight's been very entertaining. You know, this guy's been, I mean, the Murat fight, I was you know, I was gonna watch the fight, obviously, but I wasn't super hyped about it. But the fight was pretty good, you know, and with all of the antics that went on in the ring, it was a great fight. But speaking on, you know, his future now he brought up that he would like to fight. He wants to unify the titles in light heavyweight, right? Shumanov got a title, Adonis Stevenson, and you got Sergey Kovalev, and he said he's gonna try to fight Shumanov next. I believe that's what he says. I looked on Boxing News 24, so I'm gonna try to put the link up when I'm in the description for this video, because that's where I read the news. And he said that by his 50th birthday, he want to fight all three of these guys. Now we know that Kovalev and Adonis Stevenson's over at HBO, and we already know about, you know, the Cold War between the networks and the promoters. Now this is how I feel. If any boxer has the juice to try to get these fights made between the networks, other than Floyd Mayweather, I think Bernard Hopkins have the power to do that. You know, he's a legend in the game. He's a vet in the game. He is a promoter for Golden Boy. And if anyone can do this, you know, merge these two networks and somehow try to get a fight between the fighters on each network, I believe it's him. You know, I mean, I don't know if he was just saying that and he was just bluffing, but, you know, I believe him. You know, I think the light, you know, heavyweight division is split in between, you know, most of the guys, most of the talented boxers over at HBO. And if he can go over there and fight these three guys, win or lose or draw or whatever, and I think that's a great way to go out. You know, imagine he fights the three of them and beats all three. You know what that does for his legacy? Like, his legacy is already crazy. But just imagine if he were to beat, and I'm not saying, you know, if I'll do a prediction video or whatever, give my thoughts when the time comes. But let's just say he were to beat all three of these guys. You know what that would mean? After all of the people that he's fought from, I think he's even fought at cruiserweight. I think he fought Tarver at cruiserweight. From middleweight to all the way. Do you know what that would do for his legacy? That's crazy. You know? But in this era, there's no one, like, he's definitely the last of Mohegans. And that would be great if he were to fight these guys. That would be a great way for him to go out. So anyway, you know, shout outs to Ego. He did a video yesterday. I checked his video out. And he gave his respects to Bernard Hopkins too. And I agree, you know, even if you're not that big of a fan, you gotta respect the man. He's done a lot for this sport. And I just felt like he deserved his own video, you know. And whether you think Roy Jones is better, and, you know, it's nobody that has a resume like Bernard Hopkins. You know, he's going up and he's even called out Floyd Mayweather and, like, listen, I'll go to 160 to fight Floyd. And this is a 49-year-old man, 48 at the time, a 49-year-old man that's saying that. You know, so what's the excuse for all these other fighters? You know, I just did a video yesterday talking about cherry pickers. What's the excuse for all these other fighters? He's 49, a champion, and he's still fighting at a high level, all right? So anyway, this, you know, give me your thoughts on how you feel about Bernard Hopkins. In the fight between the three champs, the other three champs over at light heavyweight, you know, who do you think? You think Bernard Hopkins can beat these guys? I think he's definitely capable of beating all three. I just don't know if he's gonna do it, you know. All right, so yeah, leave comments and make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter too.